Good morning to the Honorable Ministers of the Council, members of the media, online viewers, radio listeners via St. Martin Gov Radio 107.9 FM and other radio stations. I'm Rolika Roach and welcome to the live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, February 6, 2019. At this time, I invite the Minister of Public Housing, Spatial Planning, Environment and Infrastructure, the Honorable Miklos Gietersen, to address you. Minister Gietersen.
Thank you, Ms. Roach. Good morning, Prime Minister, fellow ministers, press, and audience members viewing and listening. On Monday, January 21st, workers from the RIVM, the Dutch National Institute for Public Health and Environment, started their project of taking measurements and collecting samples at various locations around the landfill in Philipsburg and the surrounding areas. Fixed monitoring stations were set up at the Festival Village, the Miss Lally Commercial Center, the Fire Department, and an area in Fort Willem. An additional monitoring system was also set up in the Public Works Yard. These stations collected data 24 hours a day, and in addition, smaller mobile stations sampled in other strategic areas intermittently. The project was originally slated for 2 weeks, with the possibility of an extension of an additional week if needed. As the project is in its final stages, we are engaging in discussions on the possibility of some of the monitoring equipment being left behind in the care of trained personnel for an additional period to collect even more data. Once collected, these samples will be transported to the Netherlands in refrigerated containers where they will be analyzed to assess any potential risks posed to the population. Based on the results of these analyses, RIVM will then draw up a risk assessment report. This report will be submitted to us. The results of this study will help to inform the VRUMI Ministry as well as the Ministry of Health if and to know what measures need to be taken to mitigate damage to the health of the population if it is the case. It can also serve as a base reading once the fire suppression activities begin. We will, of course, also release the results publicly. The ministry continues with its car wreck removal project, which has been ongoing for a number of weeks. This is being done to ensure that our roadways and neighborhoods are clear of obstructions that are not only unsightly, but are public health and safety hazards as well. A large number of cars have already been removed from various districts, and this will continue. Unfortunately, it always seems that there are residents that continually seek to frustrate the work of the government, and I'm sorry to say that lack of respect and lack of pride in the beautification and cleanliness of their surroundings. I ask the public's cooperation in not complicating the process by adding additional car wrecks once an area has already been cleared. We have noticed that the ministry has received specific complaints from residents that persons are dumping more wrecks on the roadside once an area has been cleaned up. The money that we spend in picking up the abandoned cars is every dollar that we spend in picking up an abandoned car is one less dollar that the ministry has to spend on the fixing of roads or cleaning of our drainage systems or of any other dozen tasks that the ministry performs. I ask the owners of the cars that are no longer drivable to please make proper arrangements to have their cars properly and legally disposed of. Moving on, as of January 30th, household garbage in parcel 5 and 6 will once again be collected by the company Roberto and Son. In the latter half of last year, due to non-compliance with the terms of their contract, these parcels were temporarily awarded to two other local companies with the knowledge and agreement of Roberto and Son. Payment for these temporary contracts were pulled from the account of the company Roberto and Son, so the government did not have to pay any extra monies for the switch. A letter of default was submitted to the company, and the ministry started the process. A letter of default was submitted to the company, and the ministry started the process of contract termination. Roberto and Son objected to the contract termination, which is their right as a company. The legal process had been ongoing since. On January 29, Roberto and Son informed the ministry that they were once again able to fulfill their contractual obligation. And since the legal proceedings have not yet concluded, we are bound to return the parcels to them. The two other companies were informed that their temporary services would no longer be needed, though we are very thankful for their services and for the fact that they were able to step in when asked. This company is Leonard Enterprises and Meadowlands. I have instructed the Department of Infrastructure, under which the garbage collection contracts fall, to keep a very keen eye on Roberto and Son and their collection performance going forward. If they are found to once again not comply with their obligations, I will immediately terminate the contract as per default letter. Moving on, yesterday, I, along with the management team of NVG EBE, were present at Parliament to share with our parliamentarians an update on the current financial and operational standings of the company. The presentation highlighted actions taken by the company immediately prior to Hurricane Irma and Maria, as well as damage to the company infrastructure, production, and distribution networks after the storm. The impact of Irma on energy production and revenues were elucidated in detail. And the current status of the company, where they stood financially in regards to insurance coverage and current customer counts, were also shared. The members of Parliament posed a number of pertinent questions to our group, and I look forward to returning back to Parliament the week of February 18th so that we may provide the MPs as well as the people of St. Martin with the answers to the questions. This concludes my press briefing for today. Thank you.
I now would like to invite the Minister of Justice, the Honorable Cornelius De Weaver, to address you. Minister De Weaver.
Thank you very much, Ms. Roach. Good morning, Prime Minister, colleague ministers. Good morning, St. Martin. Friday was a historic day in the lives of our citizens, businesses, government, as well as visitors, with the opening of our camera observation room, as well as the swearing in of the 10 camera observers. Most people realize that wherever you go, there are cameras everywhere, bars, restaurants, stores, and we don't even think about them most of the time. Then I was wondering which example could I use to illustrate the benefits of surveillance, and I thought about cameras that were stuffed in animals that observed babysitters abusing babies or children, and I thought about cameras and clocks that watched caretakers abuse the elderly. And then I said, let me think about this again, because I think many of us remember the video that was circulating about the police car fishtailing by the roundabout, politicians in compromising positions, the young woman who was taking money out of the old lady's bag in a department store, and then an angry partner threatening a mother in front of their children. These are all incidents sketched in our minds, and at times these videos are circulated on social media, are just capturing a moment, as they say, a momentopname. We do not see what led up to it, and we do not see what happened after. However, cameras allow the authorities to review footage to determine what actually happened. This project is about prevention to begin with. It is also about being reactive to incidents. It is also about being proactive. And in the future, it will be about being predictive. This is the vision of this project, but it is also the vision of this ministry. We also, on that day, turned over the keys to the immigration officers. There were 7 cars that will be used by the immigration department, especially the mobile unit, and we, of course, look forward for them to execute the work they are doing. Last but not least, the update on the stickers. I want to, first of all, thank Minister Heerlings, as well as Minister Smith, Minister Lee as well, because in the absence of Minister Heerlings, at one point, he also assisted. This has clearly been a joint effort by the entire Comm when we made the decision to go along with this sticker, and I'd like to thank all of them for it. The stickers should be here by the end of the week, if not early next week, and we will begin to distribute them. We have made sure that all the dots are being put on the I's and the T's are being crossed to ensure that we do this the right way. We ask the public for their support and their cooperation, and to ensure that we are all law-abiding citizens, we pay our fees, and we follow the law. Thank you very much and have a great day.
At this time, I would like to invite the Prime Minister and Minister of General Affairs, the Honorable Leona Romeo Marlin, to address you.
Last week, it was brought to my attention that the Managing Director of Keynes Construction, signatory of the works contract for the first phase of the roof repair of the St. Martin Housing Development Foundation, is a civil servant working for the Ministry of Vromi. This information raised the question whether the concerned individual has the permission to perform ancillary work as a contractor for the National Recovery Program Bureau. Upon receiving this information, I immediately contacted the Minister of Vromi to ensure that this matter is urgently addressed by the relevant department in accordance with the National Ordinance Substantive Civil Servants Law, Landsverordening Materiële Ambtenarenrecht, so the LMA. I would like to emphasize that this is an administrative matter of the government of St. Martin and does not directly concern the NRPB, so the National Recovery Program Bureau. The signing of the works contract by the National Recovery Program Bureau is in accordance with the applicable legislation and the guidelines of the World Bank. This matter has the attention of all the relevant departments and ministries and will be addressed in a diligent manner. Yesterday, the Comm had its second successful retreat. I want to thank each minister for their positive participation, and I can firmly inform the general public of St. Martin that this Council of Ministers understands all of the risks involved and the consequences thereof of any decisions that will be made on Thursday, be it positive or negative. The Council of Ministers stands united, prepared to face any challenge, and to take any decision necessary in the best interests of the recovery and reconstruction of St. Martin. I can stand here and state all of us believe that St. Martin deserves a stable government, especially during these times of recovery. These are my announcements for today, and I will await any questions from the media. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister, for your opening remarks. Minister Heerlings and Minister Lee are both present this morning at the press briefing, however, will not be making any opening statements, but is available for any questions the media may have. We now move on to the question and answer session. The floor is open. Lyndon Brown of BCN TV, you have the floor.
Good morning to the people of St. Martin and the ministers that are here today. Question to Minister Gittison. Okay, for the past month there was a problem with the Rebel to Garbage company not doing the work that they had contracted to do, and you had pulled back the contract. But now there's a court case pending. But now, as you said in your statement just now, they are at work again. Did they ever stop working from since there was they was not complying with the garbage taken up from a different district?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Brown. Yes, last year, I believe between the months of August and November, they had some heavy equipment issues, so they could not comply with collecting the garbage. So that's why we sent in companies, Leonard Enterprises and Roberto and Sons. This was also at the request of, Leonard Enterprises and Meadowlands, sorry, and Roberto and Sons. Also, that was the request of them to have these companies in. It is not a court case. It's more of a legal investigation that we were doing with the contract that we have with them, because we were seeing if we could have terminated the contract one time, and we did our legal due diligence on it, and that is still pending. So it's not a court case like you said just now against them. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Minister Heatherson. Andrew Dick of the Daily Herald, you have the floor.
Good morning to the ministers. Prime Minister, just a question. If a motion of no confidence is passed against yourself and Minister Johnson, will you call elections?
In my response, this Council of Ministers stands united, and when the time comes, we will make the decision as a united group.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Andrew Bishop of St. Martin News Online, you have. Judy Fitzpatrick of the Daily Herald, you have the floor.
Thank you, and a very good morning to all the ministers present. Minister DeWeaver, I just have some questions regarding the stickers for 2019. Can you indicate how many in total have been ordered? I know for the number plates it was like about 30,000. And how exactly would it work in practicality? Does motorists have to request one of the stickers when they go and pay their motor vehicle tax, or will it automatically be given to you? And for persons who've already paid their road tax, who would like a sticker, how would it work?
Those are the details that, thank you, Ms. Fitzpatrick. Those are the details we're working out as far as the distribution of those stickers. That's one. To your question about the amount, I believe it was 20-something thousand that were ordered, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have the invoice with me right now. I know it came up to 20-something, 33? About 33,000 stickers that were ordered, and we're going to be distributing when we give the number plates for those who want to keep the number plates. Those who do not want the number plates but want the sticker, they will be given the sticker.
Sorry, did you say 33 or 23?
33,000 something.
Thank you.
Thank you, Minister DeWeaver. Andrew Bishop of St. Martin News Online, you have the floor.
Good morning, ministers. Minister of Finance, could you explain to me how the grant that was given that is supposed to be given by the European Bank, Investment Bank, how is that going to do with the airport? Because I understand that the money is a grant. How is it being loaned to the airport? I need clarity on that.
Thank you, Mr. Bishop. Good morning to the press corps and my colleagues. Mr. Bishop, your analysis of that loan is not the correct one. I think it has been put out there a couple of times that the amount that the government of St. Maarten is facilitating the airport with as an option for financing the reconstruction of the airport is a total amount of $100 million, of which 50 million is a grant that comes from the trust fund at the World Bank, and 50 million as a loan from the EIB, the European Investment Bank. And that loan for now is bearing an interest of 4.45%. All these monies, the total amount of 100 million will be lent to the government of St. Maarten, at least the 50 million and the other 50 million a grant. And then the total amount of 100 million will be lent onwards to the airport. The details of that, the terms of that loan that we can provide the airport with is still being worked out. So, but just for clarity's sake, it's the EIB that does the loan and not the grant, and the other 50 million is from the World Bank.
Thank you, Minister Heerlings. We now move on to the second round of questions. Lyndon Brown, you have the floor.
Question to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister, well, a couple of hours, days now, the discussion about your resignation. And the emphasis was, some of the emphasis was on the $550 million. Now, the Dutch acquired that money for the recovery of St. Maarten. The Dutch contracted the World Bank to manage the money. The Prime Minister and some associate went to the World Bank and witnessed the signing. Make it clear to the people of St. Maarten that the government of St. Maarten do not have absolutely power over these monies. St. Maarten have a representative, and I believe if there are any question, the Prime Minister or the government of St. Maarten will have to speak to the representative, and they will speak to their counterparts at the World Bank. So make it clear, because these are some of the allegations that you should, there are no confidence in your government. Make it clear to the people, please, Prime Minister.
Thank you, Lyndon Brown, for the statement. I'm not sure it's the question, but I will speak to your statement. Indeed, 550 million euros or 580 million US dollars was given to St. Maarten from the Netherlands, the people of the Netherlands, their tax-paying money, given to St. Maarten via the facilitator, I would say the World Bank, and projects that comes out of that was for, and preliminary only for, the recovery of St. Maarten. The process to get access to those monies is two parts. In the beginning, in the initial stage, right after the storm, some monies, not part of the World Bank, but separate funding was given to the NGOs, and I will speak to this point. I saw in one of the motions that none of the monies was used to repair roofs. Unfortunately, that is very much inaccurate. I can tell you that the UNDP got funding from the Netherlands, from direct funding, to assist St. Maarten for the recovery, and they have done, I completed, I believe, 75 houses, and another 48, I believe, is going to be completed within short. I believe January, February, the end of February, everything will be completed, but we would give that update. Monies was also given to the White and Yellow Cross that also fixed a number of homes for the elderly. Monies were also given to the St. Maarten Development Fund. That organization also assisted in repairing a lot of roofs for the people of St. Maarten. So to state that no funding was given or no Dutch funds were used for roofs repair, we can show the facts that they were. Nevertheless, the process for accessing the rest of the monies is simply we do have a steering committee, and you're correct, we have a representative, Mr. Marcel Gums, and basically when the projects come in through the various ministers or even organizations, they are vetted. They go through a process of vetting. Once approved, it goes to the steering committee. The steering committee approves it, and they vet it as well with the World Bank, and then after the process continues to see if it's going to get approved or not. But indeed, the monies are for St. Martin. It is for our recovery, and we had a serious hurricane, and we're still in the recovery phase. And I look forward in ensuring that the rest of the monies are spent on St. Martin for the rebuilding and resilience of this country. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Judy Fitzpatrick of the Daily Herald, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Minister DeWeaver, I have another question regarding the sticker issue. Are there any plans, has there been any discussions on perhaps continue using stickers for the future as opposed to continuing with the plates? It's perhaps better for the environment, maybe even cheaper. Any plans on that? And I would also like to request if the Daily Herald can be provided with an artist's impression of what the new stickers would look like. I believe one of my colleagues was promised, not by your office, 2 weeks ago, but we never received it.
Okay. I think, well, no, let me just say this. In general, we would like to be more environmentally friendly and have maybe one standard plate and then adopt the legislation to either just use stickers. But that discussion has started. We have to, of course, bring in more stakeholders so that we do have their input. And I believe once that is done, then we will come and make a decision regarding the way forward. As far as the artist's impression, as soon as they come in, we'll take a picture with it. Because these stickers are secured stickers as well, in the sense that they do have safety measures, security measures built into them, so you can't rip them off and all that stuff. So, understanding the consequences or actions by some, we took all those into consideration in the design as well as in the final of the sticker.
Minister Heerlings.
Thank you, Ms. Roach. I would like to set the record straight, because for 2 weeks now, my ministry and Mr. Fitzpatrick kind of referred to a promise that was made. There was never a promise. I was approached by one of your colleague journalists if I could provide the design, and I told them no, because we are in the process of completing all of this, and if I would like to share it with the community, I will share it for everybody at the same time. So just for the record, say that. But if I may also refer to the earlier question to the Minister of Justice, my department is indeed looking at cost-cutting measures, and one of them is to see if we would continue indeed with the stickers, because ordering the plates every year is a costly affair, and yes, we are looking at it. But again, as the Minister of Justice stated, we are in discussion with the stakeholders on this. So as soon as we finalize that, we will inform the public in general accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And my apologies. The impression I received was that it was promised. So my apologies for that.
Thank you, Minister Heerlings. Thank you, Judy. Andrew Bishop, you have the floor.
Prime Minister, the situation of the Venezuelans, do you have any update on it? Because you said the last time I spoke with you, you said that it's being handled by the kingdom. What is the situation now, madam?
Thank you for that question. The situation is basically that, the update that we have received is that the Netherlands and in respect everyone within the kingdom will support the interim president, and that is the latest update that we have received. We know that certain actions are being taken to ensure that persons are able to get access to food, etc., but in due time, we will send out a press release on the subject matter as it comes in, because things change daily.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister.
Thank you, Prime Minister. We now move on to the third round of questions. Lyndon Brown, you have the floor.
Question to Prime Minister again. Prime Minister, there are a vote of no confidence, and it's surrounded the recovery plan, the 550. Where have the Prime Minister or the government of St. Martin went wrong that they deserve to dismiss? As I mentioned, there's a vote of no confidence. What is the allegation that the government of St. Martin went wrong and they should go now?
I believe that I will speak to that motion within short, so my answer will be provided in here, but I will state this though. There's nothing that went wrong. The opposition is doing what they do best. It's politics.
The people of
Thank
St.
you,
Martin
Prime
need to
Minister.
panic?
Mr. Brown? Mr. Brown, you asked your question and Prime Minister answered. Thank you, Prime Minister, for your response.
You're welcome, but there's no need to panic.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Judy Fitzpatrick?
Thank you very much. Minister DeWeaver, I have another question. Regarding the sale of UTS to, I believe it is Liberty Latin America, can you kindly provide an update on the sale? I understand it's very close to being wrapped up. And can you also give us an indication as to what the plans are of the buyer once that sale transaction has been completed? And also, is UTS, can you confirm whether UTS Eastern Caribbean is included in that sale with Curaçao?
To answer your questions part A, B, and C, I want to let you know that when you are negotiating with an international company like that, you have to sign non-disclosure agreements. I do not believe this is the time or the place to disclose anything, especially without having spoken to Parliament, because it is impossible that any minister will choose to sell any government-owned company or shares in it without having a discussion with the Parliament of St. Martin, and as well as going through the Corporate Governance Council. These are steps that would have to be taken should that decision be headed in that direction. So thank you for your question.
Thank you, Minister DeWeaver. Thank you, Judy. Andrew Bishop, you have the final question.
Minister Gittison, the last time we spoke, we discussed the matter of the ratings on going to Guana Bay. What is the situation now? Is there any updates, sir?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Bishop. Yes, the update is, well, it's basically the same update that I gave you last time, but now I can safely tell you that it is in process of being handled. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Heatherson. I would now like to re-invite the Prime Minister to give her final remarks. Prime Minister?
Thank you once again, Relika. My final remark. On Monday afternoon, during the parliamentary meeting on the financing of the reconstruction of the airport to the tune of $100 million, a motion of non-confidence was tabled against my person by MP William Marlin, former Prime Minister. I will take this opportunity to speak to the points of the draft motion. The draft motion states that the present coalition government of St. Martin, led by Prime Minister Leona Marlin, is based on a coalition agreement with the premise of transparency, social dialogue, openness, integrity, and communication, with a concentrated focus on rebuilding a vibrant economy, restoring a strong fabric, and promoting a resilient sense of community. With respect to this point, I hereby inform the people of St. Martin that the government top priorities are the basic needs such as food, shelter, health, and psychosocial care. We have ensured that persons with nowhere to go have temporary housing and guidance to help them find a permanent affordable place to live and possible work. A reintegration shelter has been housing around 50 people at a time, and to this day helps persons to regain their footing in society. Immediately after the storm, we softened the requirements for financial aid to allow more people in need to access care and finances. Food vouchers have been provided to some 2,000 families for a total value of 1.5 million guilders. Over 2017 and 2018 combined, additional financial aid has been provided for approximately 1.5 million guilders. We introduced with the government and the World Bank funding the possibility for persons working in hospitality to participate in training while getting a stipend. This was later expanded to include various other fields such as construction and marine sector. For many in the Emergency Income and Training Program, participation bridges the period until the place of their work reopens again. Meanwhile, all participants in this program are provided with health insurance, a coverage they would otherwise have possibly lost. Together with stakeholders, social services is assisting persons to get a GED certificate as well as computer skills, which will enhance their possibilities on the job market. We also facilitate the provision of food baskets to persons in need. At CDFHA, we have provided persons with building materials and are presently about to launch a second phase in which we will provide building material vouchers. We are presently busy with ensuring persons who are listed for roof repair have all the necessary documents to facilitate the process. We ensured the possibility for persons dealing on the front line with society could get some knowledge in dealing with the psychosocial aspects of individuals. On a second part, it was stated the failure of the Prime Minister Leona Marlin to act timely upon the requests by the airport for a letter of guarantee to secure the necessary financing to rebuild the airport and its facilities. Thus far, 2 letters of comfort have been given to the airport and its investors, and to date, the government have not received a response to those letters. That this failure to act has pressured the airport and the government to entertain discussions and conditions for financing, which under normal circumstances would not have been entertained. What happened is that the airport management, who carries the primary responsibility for the financials of the airport, was not able to secure the necessary financing on the private market. On the requests of the airport, the government has therefore secured very attractive public financing through the World Bank and the European Investment Bank. The airport has accepted this option as of last resort because it has no viable alternatives, at least not at this 11th hour. That Prime Minister Leona Marlin lacks in transparency, openness, and integrity, which is evident from the fact that Prime Minister provides information to Parliament primarily when called to Parliament during meetings requested by opposition parties. As we are all aware, the job of a Prime Minister is not an easy task. Government requires commitment and a strong support system from the people around you. As stated above, I have fulfilled my obligations to Parliament by attending all meetings when called upon and given all information when requested. That Prime Minister Leona Marlin's ability to lead her cabinet in focusing on rebuilding a vibrant economy is in question when the airport is not given the timely attention when such is requested. The reconstruction of the airport has been a top priority since this government has taken office. The recovery strategy focuses on repairing and rebuilding the airport and related facilities to higher standards to ensure resilience of critical infrastructure to future disasters. That fact, today we are discussing $100 million financing speaks volumes on the efforts made to secure the reconstruction of the gateway to St. Martin's economy. That Prime Minister Leona Marlin has shown no evidence of results of restoring a strong social fabric and promoting a resilient sense of community. Community resilience remains at the forefront of projected activities and will manifest in trainings and guidance of community leaders to ensure that no one in society, especially the most vulnerable, will be left behind. That Prime Minister Leona Marlin's approach to kingdom relations does not echo the sentiments and positions taken by her own coalition and could further threaten the autonomous position of St. Martin in the kingdom. Since taking office, I've always been ready to work with any member of parliament, ministers, all partners within the entire kingdom to ensure that St. Martin retains that confidence of all, and most importantly, the people of St. Martin. That more than a year after the destruction of Hurricane Irma, not a roof has been repaired with the Dutch recovery funds, so stated by the Dutch General Audit Chamber. Ruim 1 jaar na de verwoestende orkaan Irma is op St. Maarten met het Nederlandse geld voor het wederopbouw nog geen dak op het eiland hersteld. Dat schrijft de Nederlandse Algemene Rekeningkamer. I've taken note of the report, and despite the time it has taken, we have made tremendous progress with the rebuilding of this country. And as I stated before, many of the earlier projects repaired roofs and houses were executed by agencies and NGOs, UNDP, St. Martin Development Fund, Red Cross, and recently the St. Martin Housing Development Foundation. And its last point was shared concerns by coalition partner Westcott Williams, as reflected in the headline in today's daily paper of a press release issued by the President of Parliament, Westcott Williams, time to objectively evaluate World Bank program and bottlenecks. We are in constant dialogue to improve and speed up the processes where possible. And that too, I have given information about time and time again here via this means of media. I thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister, for your final remarks. Honorable Ministers of the Council, members of the media, radio listeners, and online viewers, this brings us to the end of the live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, February 6, 2019. For rebroadcast, tune in every evening at 7 p.m. on St. Martin Cable TV. For video on demand, log on to the official government's website at www.stmartingov.org. On behalf of the Department of Communication, I'm Rolika Roach, and do have a pleasant day further.